Hey everyone, welcome to the next webinar with Gumroad. I'm going to go ahead and share my screens. Awesome, we'll just get started in just a second. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome. And I'm so glad you've joined this creators workshop today and that you're spending your Thursday morning or afternoon on changing your life and becoming a Gumroad creator. And if you don't know me, my name is Randall and I'm the head of community at Gumroad. Sorry, slide malfunction there. And so my role at Gumroad right now is completely focused on helping creators like you build amazing content and find customers. And if you haven't heard, Gumroad is also going to be hosting regular Q&A sessions where any creator can come and ask questions and get answers about anything from sales to content creation to Twitter growth. And our next Q&A is actually going to be next week. So please keep an eye out for the invite. And I'll also be running regular challenges on Gumroad every month for Gumroad creators. We just completed our very first challenge, which was incredible. We had so many amazing creators working on great projects and so many first-time content creators that got pre-sales as well. Some made around $500 already just in the first week. So you'll receive direct feedback if you join the challenge from people like myself and Philip Kiley and Daniel Vassallo and Sahil directly on Circle, and also with all the other amazing, great Gumroad creators we have as well that have joined Circle already. We'll be running the 14-day product challenge again soon as well. So if you go to gumroad.com/Gumroad and subscribe, you'll be the first to know. So this month, we're going to be focused completely on running a challenge based on building your email list and increasing your subscribers. If you're interested in joining this month's challenge, we're going to be posting the link in the chat later, and we're going to also take questions all about the challenge. So please hang on. All of the Gumroad challenge participants also get access to the Circle community, which has awesome resources, like I said earlier, and tons of creators that are ready to help. So in this workshop today, we're going to be talking all about how you can build an email list. We're going to discuss how you can narrow down what your audience wants, how you can create something valuable, how you can create an offer that converts viewers into subscribers, and so much more. And as always, at the end of this workshop, I'll be here to answer any questions you might have. So save your questions until the end, and we'll have around 15 to 20 minutes just for Q&A. So let's get started for today. And why do you need an email list? So basically, any platform on social media, you could get banned, you could get removed, but you own your email list. On other platforms, you can be kicked off. You don't own your followers. Your account can be deactivated or you can lose access. I've had friends with large social media accounts and they've lost those accounts. An email list, it can't be taken away from you. And there are many studies that show an email list is the best way to sell a product. Those are generally your most engaged and loyal followers. If you want to sell a product online, you have to have an email list. So let's get started on my tips and tricks on how you can build a large and engaged email list. So the very first thing you need to do when you start trying to build an email list is decide who you want to be on the list. It's not that you want to sell XYZ product or that you want to just have a big email list. You really need to be able to figure out exactly who you want to get onto your email list, and you want to create a detailed customer persona. So I want you to grab a notepad and a pen or open up a document on your computer and start brainstorming on what kind of audience you want to build. So what kind of customer do you want to attract to your list? And move that a little bit so you guys can see all the slides. So you want to think about exactly who you want to get on the list, because you can't just throw out an offer and hope that people are going to subscribe to your email list. And maybe if you're very, very lucky, that will happen, but it generally does not happen. For instance, just last year, I created this entire mini course on habits. For context, like I love habits. I've been reading about habits since I was 15. I've had a big calendar in my room to write a big red X on habit streaks as long as I can remember. I'm super passionate about habits. And I created last year this entire offer around habits and this entire free mini course to build my email list. And it took so much time to create. We're talking weeks and weeks spent writing the course and then creating content for hours and hours and then recording it. And then maybe 50 people subscribed. And most people never even went to see the course. My audience wasn't at all interested in a habits course because I focused on an offer first instead of an audience first and what they want. And that was a huge mistake. It's sort of the opposite theory of if you build it, they will come. And that works for some people, but for me, it did not. And you might find that for you, it doesn't either, because I was thinking about my offer first and not what my audience wanted. So we need to figure out what type of audience you want to build. So first of all, who are you trying to target with your offer? Generally, if you have a product already that's been selling, that's kind of your offer. So you're lucky and you already know what your audience is. But if you don't have an offer or a product or your product isn't selling, you need to start brainstorming what type of customers you want to attract for when you do create a product down the road. And you want to make sure this is very niche. You want to identify exactly who your audience is and what they want. So let's create an audience persona, and that's super easy. Grab your pen and paper, open up your document, and I want you to picture your ideal audience. So think about these questions. Where do they work? What are their hobbies? What is, their age range? Where do they live? What are their goals? What do they want to do with their lives? What are their values? What is a problem they have? And if you don't know this yet, that's totally fine. We're going to work on it during the workshop. And that starts kind of with focusing on the audience needs first, and finding what kind of questions your target audience is really asking online. So after my huge mini course failure last year, I started thinking about what my target audience was interested in. And I realized that most of my blog posts in the past were about job hunting and standing out in a job hunt. So my audience was far more interested in engineering over habits. Like who would have thunk? So I also started looking on large Twitter accounts, because I didn't have much of a following back then, to see what kind of questions they would get. And I kept seeing this huge need for an introductory resource on how to code. So many people were asking how they could just get started over and over again. So there was clearly a big demand. I decided to go forward and create a free guide on how to become a software engineer, because that was something a large audience and a large group of people was really interested in. And because I focused on my audience first, that guide received around 3,500 downloads very quickly. I followed the same audience first process for my next guide and created a job hunting resource for engineers that has gotten thousands of subscribers to my email list. And if you join next week's email list challenge with Gumroad, I'll actually teach you how I created this guide and share all my resources. And you can do the same thing to find your audience. So now that we have kind of this persona in your head that you're thinking about, we kind of know what your audience is generally interested in. And if you make an offer that is relevant to your audience, it's not going to come across as spam or salesy, which I know is a big fear for people selling online for the first time. And it's definitely something I've struggled with in the past, because I really want to stay authentic and true to what my fans want. But if you're helping people, you don't really need to worry about coming across as salesy. And that kind of brings on my next point. Let's move on to the very best way you can grow your email list. So this is like a huge secret, but it's very obvious once you realize it, and you'll see other people doing it. And when I had the realization, I was like, oh, it's so obvious, but it's not. The best way to grow your email list is to provide value. And it's as simple as that. It's not going to be driving a ton of views with ads. It's not buying an email list. It's not going to be some fake offer. The best way to grow your email list is going to be by having an engaged audience. that you are constantly delivering value to. And it kind of leads me to my next point. People online, they're not going to sign up for your email list for nothing. You can't throw up a landing page and say you're going to talk about freelancing or dog training and expect to get email addresses. You have to give them a reason to want to hand over their email address, because we are living in a very noisy world, especially online. And I personally hate having to unsubscribe to anything. So you really want to give your users a reason to sign up. And that reason is called a lead magnet. A lead magnet is something free that can be a mini ebook, a guide, a video, a newsletter, a blog post, or a mini report. It can be so many different things depending on the needs of your audience. And why do you want to give away something for free? It takes a lot of effort to create, it's difficult. Generally, you're going to have a lot of people that are looking at your offer, but they aren't actually going to convert into sales right away. Generally, when I buy something on Gumroad, I feel like, I trust the seller. I've gotten a lot of value from them that makes the product worth it for me. Maybe I've seen them a few times on Twitter and I've read some blog posts they've written and I feel as if I've gotten a ton of value from them. Because when you have people online and they don't know you that well yet, they're going to see your offer, but they're not going to necessarily purchase right away. They might see your offer or your product or your site and they might click away. But by creating an effective lead magnet, you can capture these email addresses and provide them something valuable and gain a potential customer. You're converting viewers into subscribers, which will be extremely powerful because most people are going to go to your site and they're going to click away from the checkout. That's a huge percentage. But if you can create something valuable, you won't need to find tactics or strategies or buy an email list or anything like that because you don't really want to do that. You want to start building an audience that trusts you and wants to purchase from you. So let's work on our next exercise. Grab your pen and paper again. I want you to think about the intersection of kind of, what your audience wants and what you can create and what you can provide to them. And first of all, if you aren't interested in your subject, it's going to be extremely hard to create content. Creating content is not easy. So you want to make sure that you're passionate about whatever it is that you want to create. And next, I want you to think about what you are an expert in, because to create an effective lead magnet, you need to be providing value to someone. So spend some time brainstorming ways that you can provide value, kind of like, what are you a domain expert in? And this offer doesn't have to be a huge product. It can be a special report you've created, a quiz, a video, a blog post. Even it just needs to be something that your audience wants. You need to make it very specific to them. And the next thing, you want to make sure that you can create a great landing page. And Gumroad makes this very easy for you, and you can have a page set up in a matter of minutes that you can start directing people to. But like I said earlier, this is not going to be enough to throw up your landing page and expect people to sign up. You are not going to get any subscribers if you do that. You need to show them how valuable your free offer is. So you need to create a great headline, first of all. What are you solving? Are you offering a great solution? Can you catch their attention? You want to make sure your offer is extremely compelling right away. You want to immediately show them how they're going to benefit from signing up to your email address, to your email list, and giving away their email address. For instance, if they don't subscribe, what will they miss out on? And next, you want to create a great call to action to your audience. You want this to be very specific to your customer and include your offer in it. So like I said, you don't want to throw up a landing page. You want to create great copy for your landing page and you want to send it to your friends for review or maybe post it in the Gumroad circle. And we're actually going to work on this in the Gumroad challenge next week. So definitely sign up for that and we post the link in the channel later on the chat here later. And finally, you need to be driving traffic to your offer. So this is another situation where you can't just build it and they will come. You need to find ways for people to find you, and you need to drive regular traffic to your offer. This is another kind of big mistake that I made early on. I kind of just started tweeting and putting content out there, and I thought, oh, people will find me online. But like I said in the last workshop, if you attended it, if you're screaming into the abyss online, no one is going to be able to find your material. It just won't get out there. So you need to find ways to drive traffic to your offer, and you can do this in a few different ways. You want to be posting your offer regularly on your social media platforms and encouraging people to sign up. And this might feel salesy and weird, but if you don't drive traffic to your offer, no one's going to buy your offer. So if you want to quit your 9-to-5 and become a Gumroad creator full-time, you need to start doing things like this. And you can also drive traffic to your landing page from ads. This can be a great way to drive views to your page, and you should just make sure that you create very targeted ads so you're finding the customers that will actually want your offer. And you want to put your landing page link everywhere. You want to put it in your bios on various social media profiles, include it in your tweets, and just put it absolutely wherever you can. And if you think you've put it in too many places, you're probably wrong, and you probably need to share it more. And you also need to focus on where your audience is and share it in places where they would find it. So if your audience is maybe indie hackers, you could go to the Indie Hackers Forum. If you want to sell products to plumbers, you need to find a plumbers forum. If you want, to sell something to engineers, you need to be probably on Twitter. So you really need to figure out where that is and have people find your offer from there. And that kind of brings me to the next point. I just want to summarize. Thank you so much for joining. First of all, if you stick around, I'll be here to answer all your questions. And as a reminder, we do have the Gumroad Challenge next week, so please sign up. And you're also going to receive exclusive access to the Circle community if you do sign up, where you can chat with me and other Gumroad creators. So let's go over everything that we discussed today. First of all, you need to find out what your audience wants. And you need to figure out kind of the sweet spot between what they're interested in and what you can provide. So you need to think about the questions that people ask you, and kind of things that maybe your mom or your friends or family come to you and ask. So think about what you are an expert in and what you have domain knowledge in, and that will be a huge key in getting views to your offer, because people are interested in experts. And the next thing you need to do is create a successful lead magnet. And this, like I said earlier, doesn't have to be something huge. This can be a small mini book or a video. It can be an exclusive blog post. It could even be a challenge that maybe you post for your creators and you send them each week in your email list. And the next thing is making a compelling offer. And you need to figure out how you can make a convincing case for why someone should subscribe to your email list. Because like I said, people don't want to just give their email away. They want to know they got something valuable. And you also want to keep that warm by emailing them more valuable content. So it's kind of, once you get started, you just have to keep going and building your list and keeping them engaged. And you also want to drive people to your offer, which you can easily be done by driving traffic through ads, or maybe driving traffic through forums or Twitter or Facebook posts, maybe Facebook ads or Instagram posts, depending on where your audience is. Because you want to make sure people are actually seeing your offer. Because if they're not seeing your offer, no one's going to subscribe and you're not going to get sales. And the most engaged customer you will have is someone that is on your email list. Those are the people that they have given you their email address. And that means you are sending them an email, which they're going to have to unsubscribe. And it's annoying to have a very cluttered email inbox. I don't know if you feel the same as me, but I hate that. So if someone has gone to that extent to subscribe to your content, it's because it is valuable. So those are going to be your biggest engaged customers. So thank you so much for joining. Let's actually move to the Q&A. So I'm going to open up. Ooh, there we go. I'm going to stop sharing and then open up. There we go. So feel free to go ahead and start asking questions in the Q&A, and I'll be answering everything you put in there. We're just going to take the rest of the time just to chat about your problems or questions. So the first question that I have in the Q&A, thanks for the excellent session. That's great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I am at the stage where I've created a landing page for a SaaS product that I'm trying to do a problem validation for. I'm getting visitors via ads, but no signups. My question is, what is the minimum offer that is needed to start offering a sign-up page? Okay, so I think you're getting visitors. That is great. That is a really good sign. And I think your offer is probably not convincing enough if you're not getting signups quite yet. So at least you need to be convincing people that they should give you their email address. So I'd have to kind of see your offer. If you want to DM me on Twitter, I can take a look at that. It might be more helpful. So I can answer it one-on-one. But hopefully that was helpful. And then the next question, how do you know when to invest in ads? Oh, this is a really great question. So first of all, it really depends on your audience and where they are. Twitter ads, they're not going to work. They're not going to be very convincing, but Instagram ads are very convincing and Facebook ads are also great. Those are kind of, depending where your audience is, you should be putting ads in those places and platforms. And Google is also another good place if you have great keywords. So I would say when you're just getting started out, I would not invest in ads quite yet unless your audience, you can figure out a great way to target them on Instagram or Facebook. I would focus just on providing value if you have a smaller audience and you haven't really convinced a lot of people to purchase your offer or sign up for your landing page yet. So I'd say it's really dependent on each creator. Ads is going to be unique to you. For instance, I rely mostly on Twitter. And I don't need to run ads there, but I also love YouTube. That's another great place where you could potentially run ads. So for me, my audience is YouTube or Twitter. So I don't really feel the need to run Facebook ads right now or Google ads. But depending on your audience, you might want to run Facebook ads. But I would say don't go crazy investing a ton of time in running ads until you know, and don't invest a lot of money until you know that you have a convincing offer, because people, they're going to go to your offer and not sign up. So you want to make sure that before you run ads, you have a very convincing offer. So thanks, Mike, for asking that question. Hope that was helpful. Okay, awesome. The next question, thank you for the session, Randall, was crystal clear. So glad you enjoyed it. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or email if you have any follow-up questions as well. And then our next question, which platforms have you run ads that yielded the best results? So like I said earlier, for me, I don't really feel the need to run Twitter ads. It's not really important to my audience, but I have noticed for me that Google is big because developers are on Google. I also post on Hacker News, a few places like that where I don't really need to, like Indie Hackers, where I don't need to run ads there. But personally, if you're going to be targeting a certain audience, Facebook ads might be great for you, or Instagram ads, because a lot of people are going to go and see maybe a convincing workout offer and you're targeting your audience exactly. So it really, I can't really say like this is like the best place for you to run an ad because it's going to be very unique to you. So you need to figure out kind of where your audience is and how to target them. Because if they're developers, it's going to be, Twitter, or it's going to be on Indie Hackers, or it's going to be Hacker News or Reddit, for instance. So you really need to go and you need to figure out where your audience exists and how you can kind of find them and create content for them. So I can't really say, go run an ad on Twitter or, YouTube or anything like that. It's going to be very dependent on where your audience is. And you need to get very specific and kind of drill down into where your audience is so you can find them and target them. So I hope that question was helpful. Awesome. Does anyone want to ask any more questions in the Q&A? We have some open slots now. Okay, great. So we have a question from Robert. Thank you for this webinar. Awesome. Should I set up social media accounts for the offer/business that will be providing the content and value, or alternatively use my personal accounts? Okay, so this is a great question, Robert. Thank you so much for asking this. It really depends on your offer. So for me, I personally use my personal account because that is my biggest platform. But it really depends on kind of what your offering is. So your offer/business will be providing content and value. If you're going to say offer value to, a plumber, for instance, or a dog trainer, you probably don't need to use your personal brand, but if you're, say, a developer or you're an artist, you probably do want to use your personal brand. But also, you want to think about where you're investing the most time in, because if you're growing a platform on Twitter or a Facebook fan page, if you're going to be investing a lot of time in random kind of different products, it might be a lot easier if you're creating one thing on one platform and with your own personal brand. So it's really dependent on you. I hope that kind of helps a little bit. For me personally, I have one main Twitter account that I use and I put all my products there. But if I did start a business one day in the future, I would keep that separate. So it's really dependent on kind of the personal brand that you want to build. But these days, a personal brand is huge. So it could help you in so many ways if you really drill down and focus your time on building that kind of one personal account for now. Okay, so our next question. All my offerings are free digital goods. When I pivot to paid digital goods, should I start at a low price point since my audience is used to / expecting it for free? Okay, so no, you should not, start offering a low price point, because people perceive value by pricing. And first of all, you want to price fairly. And thank you, Tyler, for this awesome question. You want to price fairly because you want your customer to walk away thinking they've gotten a deal, and you might leave a little bit of money on the table, but you want them to come back and buy your products in the future, and you don't want refunds or returns, and you don't want them on social media saying that wasn't worth it. So you want to find the sweet spot between pricing too high where the customer is upset, but also not pricing too low where you feel like you didn't have anything of value. And the good thing, Tyler, is that if you've been offering free digital goods this whole time, you've kind of built up this tension that is just going to explode, and you're going to be able to sell so much better than someone who's just kind of jumping into a paid product right away, because you've built up this tension. And once you do release something that is paid, people are going to want to give you money because you've been providing value to them. So it's another reason why a lead magnet is really important, because you start right away this relationship with your customer by giving them away value. So kind of a long answer, but I would say that the short answer to that would be do not go at a low price point, because people perceive value by pricing, and you want to make sure that you're offering them something valuable and something that they see as valuable because they're willing to pay for it. So I hope that helps. We have another question from Iris. How do I learn where my audience hangs out? So this is a great question. You first need to decide kind of, first of all, what audience you're targeting, because if you don't know your audience, you're never going to be able to find where they are. So first of all, that's kind of the one thing to focus on. And then once you've kind of drilled into your audience, say maybe it is dog trainers or it is artists, you can literally go to Google and search things like artist forum for XYZ and maybe drill down into your topic. Or you can say Slack groups for plumbers, or you can say, tech Slack groups for XYZ developers at this point in their career. Things like that. You can literally start Googling and find those forums and Slack groups and different ways, websites maybe. There's so many ways you can find where your audience is. And you also want to find out where the specific platform they're hanging out is, because that is the most important place where you can engage with your audience. Because if your audience is on Facebook, but your biggest platform is on Twitter, that is going to be a big problem. So you need to find kind of the general social media platform where they are. Maybe it's a Facebook group, and maybe that's going to be your biggest place for finding customers. So you need to go there, and you need to have that be kind of your biggest platform of Facebook pages. And maybe like me, it's on Twitter, and you need to be on Twitter very active and posting. And for instance, I don't really put a lot of effort into my Instagram account right now or my Facebook account, because I'm able to find all my customers on Twitter. So it's really specific to you. But if you have follow-up questions on that, Iris, I would love to help you. So please DM me on Twitter or send me an email. And the next question, best book you've read on this topic or that contributed to your thinking on this topic lately? I loved the color-coded spines, by the way. Thank you. First of all, I don't think I could name any one book that really helped me kind of do this. I think it was an online kind of everything online that I've ever read kind of led into this, I guess, whole knowledge base that I have now. I would say that there are people online like Sean Wang, Swix on Twitter. If you go to his GitHub account, it's SWYX on Twitter. If you go to his GitHub account, he has an entire launch system that you can look into. And there's also a lot of free online. I'm trying to think of the name right now, but there's a great book on launching. I can't think of the name. I'm going to figure out the name and I'm going to tweet it later. So go there and I will find it and send it to you. And also, if I don't do this, DM me and I will follow up as well. There's a great book basically on building product launches, and there's an entire course around it that I can recommend. And also, I would say, if you don't know where to start creating, we're going to run the 14-day product guide again, the challenge in January. So you can also get access to that anytime, and we'll send you the entire 14-day product guide. It's around 25 pages, so you can get started. That's kind of where I've accumulated all of my knowledge and kind of put it into one guide. So I could probably recommend that, and that will have a lot of different resources in it. And then the next question. Thanks for the webinar. So glad you enjoyed it. I'm feeling a bit lost as far as setting up, organizing, and keeping track of an email list. Could you review what Gumroad offers with regards to maintaining an email list? Yes. So it's really easy to set up your Gumroad email list. I mean, it's so easy. It's so simple. Gumroad basically has a landing page you can have up in 30 seconds. You don't have to do anything. It's completely no code, and you can start directing people there. You'll have an image, you can customize your background and your text, and then your email list will be directly in Gumroad. So this is great because you can email your customers directly on Gumroad, and you can kind of filter through what products they've bought if you want to email them, directly there. And another great thing is when you ask for a customer to review your product and give you 5 stars on Gumroad, you can include that in your email, and they will already, know where to go on Gumroad and send you a 5-star, hopefully, review. So that's kind of the great thing about setting up an email list on Gumroad. And then also you own your email list on Gumroad. So at any time you can download it. We have a very convenient feature, download to Excel. You can have the entire email list, and you also can use Gumroad to see how fast your email list is growing. So I highly recommend it. I use it myself, and we actually just used it in the Gumroad challenge. So I definitely suggest that you take a look. And then we have another question from Mike. Do you ever pull back a paid version of a product if it doesn't actually produce sales? I feel like starting off with the paid option before I prove my value, and I'm not sure what to do. This is a great question, Mike. I have actually not pulled back a paid version of a product, but I have actually pulled back free versions of a product, which is probably really embarrassing to say. My habits course, I removed that online. Not that I didn't love the course, but I didn't think it was, helping me online at all. I would say for you, Mike, I don't know if your product is out yet. It sounds like it isn't quite yet, if I can read this correctly. But I would say you can build in public, which is really popular right now, and it'll also help you get sales. And you can provide smaller portions of your product for free. And this is something we're going to be doing in the Gumroad challenge next week that starts on Wednesday. It's all about building your email list and your lead magnet offer. And I'm going to give you all these tips and tricks on how you can do it. But I would say that you can give away portions of your paid product right now. You can give away a chapter if it's the book. You can give away a small sliver of your video course. If it's a video course, you can kind of figure out ways to give people a little bit of information to get them to subscribe to your list. So you can kind of do both. You don't have to say, oh, I should have done paid first, or I should have done free first, or vice versa. You don't really have to do that. You can just take a small portion of your product and start selling it. Hopefully that's helpful. And always feel free to DM me on Twitter if I miss any questions or you want to follow up. But I hope that helps, Mike. And then my next question, have you seen regular tweeting of specific content convert into more email list subscribers? And that is a really great question. And yes, I absolutely have. I have seen the biggest conversion rate to my email list from offering free stuff. Offering a free chapter of my book got around, I think, 1,000 subscribers. Offering a free product that took me around a month to create. It wasn't like a big time investment, around 50 pages. The guide that I talked about a little bit earlier. Wasn't a huge time investment, and it got around 3,500 email list subscribers right away. And I have another guide that's around 12 pages that's gotten around, I think, 1,500 subscribers. So the best kind of offers for me are talking about what I offer free. And I think this can be really valuable to you as well. If you say, hey, I'm working on this free guide or this free mini course, and I'm offering it free on my email list, those are generally the best things because people immediately are like, oh, this is free. But another great thing you can do is just continuously be adding value on wherever your specific platform is. It sounds like you're also on Twitter. So I would say regular tweeting of your offer on your email list, but then also kind of look at your most engaged tweets and see what the best ones are and kind of try to create more like that or retweet frequently. And there's a lot of apps out there right now where you can do that. So hopefully that helps you. And my next question is with Robert. What email list providers would you recommend? Sorry, I'm not too familiar with Gumroad and I don't know if that's one of their features. Totally okay, Robert. It is one of their features. And the great thing about using your whole kind of email list platform on Gumroad is that you own your email list, first of all, so it's so much better than a social media platform. But you can also email your customers right there in Gumroad. And you can also offer free products on Gumroad, which is a great way to build your email list. And I'm working on another one right now that I'm really excited about. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on Gumroad and I'm going to say it's pay as you want. So it can be zero to anything. People can get it for free. That's actually what we do for our Gumroad challenges. We offer a free, challenge that you can subscribe to, and then we manage our own email list through Gumroad as well. So if you go to gumroad.com and you check out, the email list feature, it's going to be so fast to set up. So I highly recommend it. And then you'll also be able to see exactly what people have bought. So you can kind of follow up with targeted emails maybe on your next product. Like for me, my first book, I can also now email the same people that bought that first book and say, hey, I'm offering another book now, or maybe a free product. And because I know exactly who bought it on Gumroad, I can do that on Gumroad. So I highly recommend that you try it out, Robert. Hopefully that helps you. So my next question, I'm in Latin America, writing ebooks in English for the Indian market. Any advice on how to create an email list of my target audience? So I would have to know a little bit more about who your target audience is. I'm not quite sure from reading this, so feel free to DM me on Twitter. Ebooks in English, not quite sure, but feel free to email me. But in general, any idea on how to create an email list of your target audience is kind of figure out who they are and then start Googling on how to find them. So like I said earlier, if it's like a plumber, then you're gonna be like plumbers forums, or if it's a dog trainer, you're gonna be saying, best dog training forums. Or if it's developers, you're probably just going to be on Twitter. Or if it's, moms who want to work out, it might be a Facebook group. So there's a lot of different things you can do. Feel free to always DM me on Twitter for follow-up. Hopefully that was a little bit helpful though. And my next question is just through the chat, what was your journey like? Day 1, day 100, day 365? Okay, that is a really great question. Like I said in the workshop earlier, I definitely did not have many followers when I started out. So last year I had maybe 200 Twitter followers. I had no email list. I had absolutely no platform or credibility online. So I started out from basically zero. And that was definitely really difficult, but if I can do it, you can absolutely do it. I started with a free offer last year in, I think, December 2019. And it was basically a free course for developers on how they could start coding. And it was really basic, really junior. And like I said, that got 3,500 email list subscribers. So day 1, I had absolutely nothing going on online. And then by creating that free offer and starting to tweet it out regularly on Twitter and talk about the resources that I've learned over my career, I was able to grow my list significantly just by providing value and an expert, which actually kind of answers one of the other questions as well in the chat. Are you a developer as well? Yes, I am a developer. I'm working in a small startup right now. I'm also working as the head of community at Gumroad. So hopefully that kind of answers the question at the same time. And then let's see, day 100, I think that was maybe sometime in late March for me, early mid-March. And I was working on mostly tweeting out my offer and tweeting out resources that I've had from a million years ago. So I have a few blog posts out about this if you're interested in kind of how I wrote my book. There's a big one on Medium right now. I can share that with you, and feel free to DM me on Twitter if you can't find it as well. But basically, I was tweeting out my offer extremely regularly. I was offering free content. I offered free resume reviews. I was just like, the biggest thing you can do is start providing value and figuring out ways that you can give that away to people so they feel like they trust you and that you're credible. And then another way is create credibility online. So I think around day 100, I was writing a ton of blog posts, and I was creating videos and different content like that, kind of trying to show that I was a credible expert that people would want to, listen to. Because if people can't and don't think that you're credible, they're not going to want to listen to you online. So that's a big thing you can do right now, is go write an amazing blog post. Like Daniel Vassallo, something that he recommends, and he's kind of like my icon for all things growing an audience. He recommends just go and write something that is credible in your topic, that draws people to you and makes them think you're an expert. And for me, this was, I think, in March, just writing blog posts about how I became an engineer. I've been an engineer for about 6 years. And I've had a lot of, resources that I've accumulated over the years. And because of that, I shared them online, started, tweeting out my offer regularly, and kind of everything exploded from there. I started getting around 8,000 to 10,000 Twitter followers a month. So, I started from almost next to no followers. I had no email last year at all, no email list at all. So if I can do it, you can absolutely do it as well. Hopefully that helps. And our next question: what tips do you recommend when releasing one's first major paid product? So I have the great resource that I mentioned earlier. It's from Swix on Twitter. You can find him at SWYX, and his GitHub has an entire kind of like launch checklist that you can use. And it was so incredibly helpful to me because it kind of explores huge launches. Another great resource, something that we share in the 14-day product guide. So we can also share the link to that, and you can go sign up to get the entire 14-day product guide. Our videos online from like Wes Boss, for instance, he has some great videos, and let's see, I'll have to look online and share them later, but there's so many online resources that you can use, and the 14-day product will give you all of these in a convenient link. Adam Wathan, if you go watch his YouTube video right now, you will not regret it. He has an entire YouTube video, like an hour long. I think he was speaking at MicroConf, all about just building an audience and kind of, how he did his sales. So I highly recommend that you go and listen to that. So awesome. I think we are almost about time. Thank you all so much for joining. And as a reminder, we do have the 14-day product guide, and that is available anytime, but it's also happening again in January. So if you sign up for that, you can join in January. We'll start January 1st, and it's going to be really exciting if you've never created a product before, or if you just want to kind of work on your current product offerings. And you'll also get exclusive access to the Gumroad Circle community as well. And then next week, we're also going to be starting the next workshop, which is all about building a lead magnet for your email list and building a really engaged email list. So if you join this workshop today and you really want to build your email list and kind of create a lead magnet like I did, I'm going to give you all my tips and tricks in this workshop, and it's 5 days starting on Wednesday. So I really hope you join for that, and we'll also post a link in the chat as well if we haven't already. And there we go. So the 5-day email list challenge will start on Wednesday. And once again, you'll get access to Circle, which is going to be so amazing for building your email list. And then I'll also show you exactly how to create your email list magnet. So thank you everyone so much for joining. I really appreciate your time. And thank you, Mike, for your comment. Hopefully this was helpful to everyone else as well. See you again soon.